Yo, 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 what's up, y'all? It's your boy Big Mike in the building. Swish for real. See, we in it. Yo, we got two special guests with us, Coach Mason, Earl K. Sneed, Boogie Bob. He's taking the night off. He's going to see the Mavs, have fun at the game, my guy. And Wild Dog, we haven't seen him in a minute. He's been kind of battling some things, so we just say a quick prayer for him, man. So get better soon, brother. Anyway,
Absolutely.
Coach Mason, how you been, man? How things on your side of the planet?
Man, I'm good. Unfortunately, our basketball season ended early this year, but man, high hopes for us next year. We're moving into a new district next year, and I think we got an opportunity to make some noise. So I'm
Man, y'all
excited.
get check them out, guys. Anytime y'all anywhere in the downtown area you get to North Dallas, just look and see what games are available, and go out and check them out. The stadium over there is nice. It's been
Nice
remodeled.
gym. Yep.
Yeah, I love it, man. I've been there what 3, 4 times now.
Yep.
So
Nah,
it's
good
been
place to
beautiful.
be, man.
Absolutely. And bring it back to the podcast, our guy Earl K. Sneed. What's up with you, man?
Not much, man. I'm enjoying everything that's going on in the NBA right now.
Yeah, man. I know you said you was doing a career move or something new, but you never really gave us the breakdown of it. What is it that you got going on new now?
Yeah, well, it's still up in the air right now, but everything's looking good. I haven't gotten any no's, so everything's looking positive right now.
Nah, facts, man, facts. Now I know the season is actually, coming to fruition as far as being ready to, start off on the whole new season next year. The playoffs haven't got here yet, but there's a lot of teams that really been kind of, you know, tanking, if you want to say. I want to kind of talk to you first, Coach Mason. The NBA, man, a lot of these teams are trying to position themselves to get that top pick as far as a college player goes. But the NBA also is suggesting that some players are now can officially be free agents instead of just having a draft. Will that have any effect if that be the case of teams tanking? Will that stop teams from tanking if they just make all players who's coming into the league for agent, whether they are college players or high school players?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a big NBA fan, man. It's really hard for me to uh, believe that teams want to tank. I think a lot of these NBA teams they have to tank is the term that they use just for greater fortunes of finding young talent. Um, I think it's kind of ridiculous to try to talk about removing the NBA draft and having players come out and sign as free agents. It's just the draft is a major component for the NBA, and there's a lot of tradition there that players look forward to. We look forward to as spectators and fans. Um, but I do, man. I think there may be honestly five teams that may be tanking, and I think a lot of that stuff is just because of the pick protections that they have going on.
Mm,
But some of these teams aren't tanking, man. Like New Orleans isn't a team that's tanking. They're just young and not very good right now. They're playing their young guys. Same thing with Brooklyn, right? They drafted six rookies last year. They're playing those guys. I don't really consider that to be tanking. But when you look at teams maybe like Indiana, who also is without their best player as well, so it makes sense this season. If you're going to take a dive, not to play guys here and there. I don't know what Zubac's injury history looks like right now, but they're also in a position where you know there's a pick protection going on with their stuff. So
mm.
winning and losing, they're trying to stay, in the center of that. So Indiana may be a team, Washington may be a team, and maybe Utah is another team I feel like that might be tanking. But outside of that, I think you've got probably 20, 21 teams playing really hard. And then you've got another four or five teams that just aren't very good. They're just playing young talent right now.
And what's going on with the Wizards, though? I mean, like, that would be one team I would think that with them adding Anthony Davis to it, will that be a team that you consider maybe tanking?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I don't. Again, I don't think that they're tanking. I think that they
Right.
took flyers on guys that have um, their concerns about their NBA future right now. You know what I mean? A lot of injury history. They've got to answer the bell in a different way. And I think for them, they're just trying to gain as much talent as they can. And but again, it it doesn't make sense for them to play guys right now, being where they already currently were in the season. They're at this point, you should play for positioning and try to get one of those guys, man. I don't see why not. Um, yeah, but they're one of those teams, like I said, one of maybe three, four teams that probably are not as concerned with winning games right now. And I'm okay with that because next year, and people aren't saying this, man, that Eastern Conference at some point is going to look a lot like what that Western Conference is, man. It's loaded. There's a lot
Agreed.
of parity there, and Washington is trying to be a part of that mix. Um, I know they're calling it, what is Brian Windhorst calling it, like a flip. And they're trying to flip a switch, man, and trying to get good as soon as possible, but it just behooves them to do so this season.
Yeah, because I know the West has been crazy for many, many years. Ever since Chicago kind of fell off, the West just exploded with Houston and everybody else coming right behind them. San Antonio, it's like a free fall in the West. There's very few Eastern teams that would could handle the West. The Lakers at the time, I mean, it was just who could handle all that, man. That's crazy.
I'm gonna tell you what it is. Some teams are mainstays, like Miami is a mainstay, right? They're gonna be in that 6 through 10 range. Um, Orlando, same thing right now. But then you had the Knicks ascend a few years ago. You had Detroit ascend a few years ago. But now you have teams like Charlotte that are really wanting to ascend. They got a really had a really good draft this year with Con Knipple, and it changed their future right away. And so now you have a team that was 13, 14, now trying to get into that 6 to 10, and it's going to be like that moving forward, man. Washington is going to try to do that. Atlanta is going to try to do that.
Mm.
So I do, man. And Milwaukee still has Giannis, man, and they're still trying to add talent around him. So that Eastern Conference is a load. It's almost two different leagues you're watching, but man, be on the lookout for that Eastern Conference moving forward.
Earl K. Sneed. What about
Agree.
the bottom half of the squads, as far as what Coach mentioned? There's a lot of teams that are down there that possibly could be tanking, like the Kings, the Pelicans, as he said, may not be tanking, and you have like Indiana. That's not that great this year because they lost Tyrese Halliburton. The Nets, I'm not quite sure what they've been doing for the last couple of years. It's just it may be ownership,
They're not at.
and
They're not
yeah, and
still
then
in
also the
it.
fact that the NBA is doing those talks, as I mentioned earlier, about letting college players become free agents as they, is that a possibility? I don't know, but what are your thoughts on that, man? As far as that question, as far as the NBA changing it to letting them be free agents to stop the tanking, or is it just that's something that's not going to happen?
I don't think it's going to happen. I think the NBA is trying to appease the NCAA in doing that because you have the option of going to play professionally for a year overseas or going to college. And now with NIL, players have a chance to make money with a year of college and then come out. So I really think the NBA is just exploring options to accommodate the NCAA. When you talk about tanking, like Coach mentioned, Brooklyn had 5 first round picks last year. Like, I don't think they're necessarily tanking. I think they're just really young and trying to find an identity as a team. Um, Even with New Orleans, they didn't have DeJounte Murray. So if you pair him with Zion, they're a totally different team most of the season. Utah got fined for it, um, but Utah also they're trapped in being really bad or being mediocre or trying to fight to be a play-in team. It benefits them because no free agents are trying to go to Utah, so it benefits them to try to build through the draft. So it's understandable why an organization like that would try to tank, um, and you take the repercussions of it, taking fines because this draft coming up is so loaded, especially with the top three guys. So if you have to say the right things publicly, but if it doesn't hurt that draft positioning, like you said, protected picks, um, if it doesn't hurt that, I think you take that chance.
Now, with a team like the Pacers, what benefit would it be for them? to, because they're last in their division, to move forward? Like, can they? I mean, winning a couple of games, we got a few more games left in the season. What is it? 56. We're saying 20 games left in this, 23 games left in the season. What is the purpose of even trying to play harder, especially for a team like the Pacers? And they're not going to really benefit from that, those extra games. So, what will be the reasoning that they'll stay down where they at, or can they even position themselves to stay where they are? Because
Yeah, I
will
think
they
it's
be the number one pick though? I think Kings will get the number one pick.
yeah, their pick is protected. So uh, there that is that, but also you're playing for Rick Carlisle, and Rick Carlisle, just knowing him, he's not a coach that's going to concede anything. So
Yeah.
even if they're not the most talented team, they want to build that identity. Then in the Hoosier state, they want to build an identity as an organization, as a team that plays hard, to get the
Hmm.
fans to rally behind that organization. But also, Coach mentioned this. They made the trade to bring in Zubac, and he's a guy that you can pair with Tyrese Halliburton going forward next season, and you're right back in the mix. So I think they have the pieces to build going forward once Halliburton comes back.
That's not too bad. And I
Yeah,
I kind of, I know they kind of miss Turner for sure, man. Cause Turner was, he was a beast, man.
Yeah, and
they do.
he was a great outside shooter too. So it
Yep.
allowed them to stretch, play 5 man out, and which is something Rick Carlisle really wants to talk about. It's something that Mike D'Antoni, someone we'll talk about later in the show, really kind of made popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts.
I also want to touch on Indiana real quick before we move on. I watch a lot of NBA basketball. Listen, man, depth is everything to a winning team. And I watch like the Pistons, for example. In the NBA, you have to find when Earl Sneed is talking about finding an identity, it's essentially finding a formula to winning. And it's really hard to do that when your depth isn't there. Like I know
Mm,
Pascal
Right,
Siakam has been sitting as well. But he'll tell you himself, man, I'm a guy that plays. Them people, they Indiana worked out over the offseason, although be it they knew they were going to miss Tyrese Halliburton. They got together in the offseason and had like preseason practices and they wanted to be good.
right,
But
mm,
it really is hard to win games at that NBA level. And I think that the word tanking gets thrown around a lot. It's hard. I watched it last night with Charlotte was playing, and they're trying to get Kobe White acclimated into playing.
mm,
That's a hard thing to do, man. Those 8 minutes, 9 minutes, he was on the floor. They lost flow, they lost rhythm. You lose games that way to really good teams. And so I think for like Sneed said, for a Rick Carlisle team and guys with the makeup of Andrew Nimhard and Aaron
right.
Neesmith, who's also out right now, man, those guys play hard.
Yeah,
They're not they're It's gonna be hard for those guys to go out and lose games on purpose. But
definitely.
uh but when you just don't have that formula, that identity, you're missing two or three of your top guys, it's almost impossible to win at that level.
Right. And coach, you mentioned Kobe White. He's such a dynamic scorer. You want to get the ball in his hands. But at this point in the season, if you haven't built that identity, you don't know where he likes the ball,
mm.
it might be disruptive to what the rest of the team is trying to do. So that's a really good point that you made.
And I watched it last night. You know, in Chicago, it was kind of it was Chicago, and
Right.
they essentially played a ton of guards, and he was hurt a lot this year. But like right now, being a new guy on a new team that's actually performing is really hard to come in and try to find your niche with that team. So I watched him last night. He doesn't know whether to be a point guard or whether to be an off guard, but because they lack
Mm.
ball handling on that
Right.
second unit, he had to run the point. And so when am I aggressive looking for my own?
Right.
You know, where the guys like the ball at on this side. So no, it just is really difficult, I feel like, for players to move, teams to be missing guys, and to go out and find formulas to win. It's just really
Definitely.
hard to do.
Definitely.
You talking just like a coach.
Trust me, man, I experience it a lot.
Yeah,
And I got one more point to make to the tanking issue too. Now, gambling also could be a part of people trying to tank, but it's only specific games though. Will that also, in your minds, have you considered that maybe a possibility that players may tank just because of gambling?
yeah.
Sneed and I look like we're
Right,
basketball purists,
right.
so we don't really look at the game that way. It shocks us when we see stuff like that. I feel
Exactly.
like just because you know, we follow guys that don't cheat the game and
Right.
that are true to it. And so when we do see things like gambling impact wins and losses, I mean, we're baffled by it. So no, it's not a thought that I think about ever, to be honest with you.
Definitely, definitely. And in the cases that have been made public, it's one guy who was borderline not being in the league anyways.
That
Um,
Terry Rozier?
no, 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 no. The first player.
Jonte Porter.
Right, right. Um, he was a fringe guy anyways, battling for a 15th spot on the
Correct.
roster. So he was trying to make money for livelihood because his
Sure.
roster
Mm,
spot was not guaranteed. Um,
Sure.
the other cases are all connected to poker, away from basketball. So, like,
Sure.
Chauncey
fans might
Billups.
right. So fans might try to wrap it all together, but it really is not the same.
Yeah, it was a
And I
full
would
blown
and I will
investigation.
I
Right,
will touch on that Terry Rozier complete shocker
right.
because man, that's a guy that if you follow his career, man, that's a guy that got it out the mud
Definitely
and
did.
he really did create a nice career for himself playing in Boston.
Right,
Um but I do, man, I think injuries and confidence are key. And you get to a place where you're out of rotation, and I'm not making excuses for the guy, but he's on his way out as well. And
right.
I don't know if it was a panic for him, but I almost guarantee if I had a conversation with, or we had a conversation with Terry Rozier, he would tell you it's one of the biggest mistakes he'd ever make in life. That's just not who he is. And man, when money gets involved in gambling, I just think you become a different person. And so I hate it for him because as a basketball player, he had my respect for sure.
Definitely.
And I know they dropped the case on Rozier because they didn't have enough evidence to really charge him for with anything. So they dropped the
The
case, and
first
he was trying
time,
to, yeah. Oh,
First
they got
time.
it.
the NBA did an investigation and didn't find anything,
Uh,
and the FBI picked it up for a second time. Right,
oh, jeez. I thought
right,
they just left it off.
right,
Nah, I didn't leave it alone. And now it's that stigma is there. And so you kind of almost would just rather just not see at this point.
right.
And I hate it for him because honestly, when Miami made that move for him a couple years ago, I thought it was gonna jolt their offense a little bit and it just never worked out.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You should have. These guys have to understand that there's other businesses than just gambling. You know what I mean? And that's a good segue to the next subject. Now, there's been some great, and I want to work with one of them eventually. Businessmen that come out of the NBA, man. There's quite a few. I've had a list of them that I'll share with you guys, but I want to make sure that I get you guys your opportunity to talk about some good businessmen and what they've done for themselves, man. Earl K. Sneed. There's been some great businessmen, like I said earlier in the NBA. Kind of give us some of your special businessmen that were NBA players that you really had a kind of maybe impact you a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the top guy, I wasn't around for his playing career, but I'm really close. My one of my best friends, Jabari Young with Forbes and Forbes BLK, has done. He did a great job profiling Junior Bridgman
Yeah,
and everything he was able to do
he was a
post
beast.
playing. Right. He never made more than 350,000 as a player in a season. And his net worth before he passed away was 1.4 billion. Um,
Unbelievable.
because he
Yep.
invested his money so well and he bought chain restaurants, chain businesses, and he was the first one to go from being a mid-level type of NBA player to really make it in the business sector. I think this generation of players, Chris Paul, um, You're seeing guys like James Harden with their own wine, CJ McCollum. Obviously, LeBron is a huge businessman. Um,
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler has his own
The
coffee.
coffee.
Carmelo Anthony. Uh, I think this generation has more guys that are like more business astute. But
Mhm.
like I said, Junior Bridgman, what he was able to do, being a mid-level type of NBA player, to make as much as he made away from the court and be a franchise guy away from basketball. Um, it's something that he modeled for what we see now with Magic Johnson, who's a huge business guy.
Yeah,
Obviously, Michael Jordan is.
yeah,
But really, Junior Bridgman would probably be my number one guy.
gotcha. Cool.
Same,
Yeah.
Same here.
same. Yeah, same. Just because of the history and like he said, it's not like everybody else he named are household names.
Right.
And I think Junior Bridgman doesn't get enough credit for what he did and what he has done. And I know Doc Rivers kind of touched on that a lot last year when he had passed away. And I think it was eye opening for me and made me kind of go do my own research. I honestly couldn't believe it. Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like how it's like how you know who gave you that blueprint?
Right.
How were you able to have that vision and see? Because now it kind of it wouldn't make sense these days if you know because I'm glad he mentioned Carmelo. There are a lot of guys right now. I mean,
Right.
Damian Lillard, my God,
Yeah.
yeah,
Steph Curry.
Right.
I think Anthony Edwards has a future. I'm gonna tell you another name. Andre Iguodala is another name that people
And he's running $1 billion venture capital right now. Like,
yep. And
like
tech.
right.
and
Yep.
But
Kevin
he
Durant is
he
another
was he
guy.
was in Silicon Valley when he played for the Warriors, so that
Yeah.
Exactly.
that helps a lot.
Exactly, exactly. So no, I do. I think that we can touch on a lot of current, if even not current, just players that played, 10, 12 years ago that are making an impact like Shaq. I mean, my God,
Right.
what isn't he a part of at this point in time?
Facts.
But
Facts.
that Junior Bridgman story is incredible.
Right.
And man, he just isn't covered enough. That what he's done was nothing short of spectacular, really.
Right.
Kind of like what you said earlier, like, with Terry Rozier and Bridgman pretty much got it out the mud. And I
Yep.
think Jamal Mashburn followed the same formula because he got Papa John's,
Right.
Outback Steakhouse. He got a few things under his belt as far as Jamal Mashburn goes.
Yeah.
There are a lot, like I said, man, and these guys, I'm gonna tell you what I appreciate about like a Magic Johnson, man, just getting into ownership, Michael Jordan ownership in other sports.
Yep.
Right.
Because we're watching them have success in those sports. It's
Right.
not like they're owners and they're not. We just saw Michael Jordan's team win that Daytona. What was
Daytona
the
500.
Daytona five?
Right.
I mean, I
And,
mean,
and the following week he won also. Yeah.
come on, man. We watched Magic win with the Dodgers.
Right.
It's incredible. Even the run the Commanders had, not last year, but
Right.
the season before. And here you are seeing Magic Johnson in the forefront smiling. It's like, man, these people make some of the best business decisions anybody can make. But they're also people that people want to work with too.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I know LeBron and his business partner, I think Maverick Dallas or something like that.
Mav
Mav
Carter.
Carter.
Mav
Yeah.
Carter, yeah,
Mav
Marv
Carter.
Carter. They are actually investing in teams in Africa, trying to build a Africa United Basketball
Yeah.
Association. So that's something in the works for them.
And
And
they
another thing,
At one point, they wanted to create their own league.
right
they
I,
need
I, di-
to.
to go up against the NBA
it's that
during
part.
the off season. During the off
In the
season,
off
that was the
season,
plan. Yeah.
correct.
They were going to try to control the summer months when the NBA was off. And that
Correct.
was the plan. Yeah.
I think Ice Cube got the summer months now.
Yeah. Now with the big three. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
WNBA
Right.
also
Right.
too.
Yeah.
It's hard, man. It really is hard. It's the best league in the world
Yeah.
for basketball. So
Agreed.
it would be very difficult to compete with. But I also think they have to be careful in doing stuff like that because we have seen partnerships disintegrate because of competition.
Yeah.
But we
Mhm.
also know competition drives business. So We'll see.
Yeah.
Something that was discussed at All Star Weekend with Adam Silver's press conference. Will you allow current NBA players to own teams with the NBA Europe League that they're trying to create?
Wow.
And that allows current players to take on ownership roles while they're still playing. So that's something to watch going forward.
Nah.
Yeah,
Now, see, I'm
I
gonna have to
actually
come.
love that NBA Europe
Yeah.
idea.
I
There's a
love it.
lot of talent. The NBA is too rich right now. There's so
Right.
much talent of guys just not even being able to play. We were talking about that earlier with Case and Wallace's brother, Keaton Wallace, who's on the roster in Atlanta and nobody really knows, but that kid can play.
Yeah,
I believe if you have an NBA Europe, it's a perfect place for people to go get paid and just have high quality basketball.
agreed.
Um,
Totally agree.
The money exchange is not that far off either. You know, I
Right.
can't remember if the euro is up or above the dollar, but it's right there, so it's not
Yeah.
that
Well, the
bad.
sure,
dollar is diminishing in value, right?
Yeah.
correct.
And
So
one last note, man. When you mentioned Shaq, that reminds me, Shaq, his shoe company. I remember hearing a story about a lady came up to Shaq and she was berating him, like, why you trying to sell these $100 shoes? You know, kids can't afford that. Why don't you make some shoes that are affordable? And so he took that to heart. So he cut his deal with Reebok
yeah,
just to create his own brand that he could make it affordable for people of lower economic background, basically.
We've
And
seen a
one thing I
couple
wanted
people
to,
do that.
yeah.
yeah,
Starberry,
Starberry
Stephon
is another
Marbury.
guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Matter of
And
fact, I still got my pair of Starberries to be honest,
nice,
and the jacket.
nice.
I'm gonna tell you who
I'm
else. Dame tried to do it with Adidas,
Yeah,
to get an affordable shoe for those who couldn't afford. Man, I think, man, that's always the best way to go, man. When you're trying to be for other people and
right.
it's not a
Mhm.
money grab for you.
Totally agree. Totally
And
agree.
one thing I wanted to say though is like reason why I mentioned that because his shoe company is now ran by his son,
Wow.
Sharif, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and Sharif is doing an excellent job rebranding it, man.
He
Yeah.
really is.
That's why I was saying earlier, I would love to work with them. Like, if I had a brand, I would definitely reach out to Sharif and like,
I
I
look,
feel
man,
like
think
this,
Shaq
this,
it's
is always out here, man. You can
yeah.
do it.
I
yeah,
think I think they've missed out on some current NBA players, but they did sign Angel Reese, so I think that's something that they can really push with the women's game.
Mhm.
And Reebok could be a really popular brand with the women's game.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of brands, and we move on to the next subject. Um, Nike has been dominating the league as far as basketball goes for years now. I don't think they're even moving their position. Coach, when you think about Nike, what do you think about as far as how it dominates players using their product and even the NBA in some cases, they were like Nike jerseys for a little bit. And I know certain teams were like you'll have the Jordan patch
Mhm.
on one jersey, you have the Adidas patch on another jersey. How is Nike holding their position? Are they still top or are they about to fall back some? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think they're still the cream of the crop. The reality is, there's just more opportunities right now for other players with other brands.
Right.
I can't even take credit for this one, man, but like Anthony Edwards is really a Nike guy, but he's on an Adidas deal. Like
Right.
he has the flair, the attitude, the game of somebody that Nike typically is able to grab.
Yeah.
But man, when other companies are throwing top dollar at these guys, and then you have the opportunity to go over there and be their top athlete,
Mhm.
that's hard to pass up on, man. I mean, I watched it with Luca, signing with Jordan, or Zion signing with Jordan, or even Cooper Flag signing with New Balance.
New balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
That one
do
shocked
think
me.
exactly,
Yeah.
but the reality is too, I watch the shoes. I'm still playing a player. I watch the shoes that fly off the shelves. The reality is the top selling basketball shoe right now is probably that Ja. The Ja 3 is,
Yeah.
and um the other thing I think that Nike somewhat at times fails on is like they don't hit on their superstar guys when it comes with the shoe aligning with the actual superstar. So like you have Giannis Antetokounmpo. that Giannis one was amazing, right? It was a multicolor shoe. It was kind of like what the Jai is now. You had two
Mhm.
different color shoes, and people just gravitated towards it. But then you watched Puma kind of do the same thing with Lamelo,
Right.
and it's just like, man, other shoe brands are just saying we can do the same things they're doing, but we can really prioritize and focus on these two, three guys where Nike just can't possibly push all of the top. You got LeBron on there, you got D Book, you got Kevin Durant. I
Right.
mean, it's really hard to put. And then the reality is too, like I said, it's the young kids' shoes that are selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that Nike is still creatively probably the best shoe. And also they're a conglomerate. And so the way they can get behind an athlete is entirely different. But man, there's just so much opportunity for these other players to go out here and get money and get just image and likeness as well, being the forefront of somebody's brand.
Yeah, because the top four shoes is Kobe's, that's number one. The Kobe 4 6s and eights. And then you got the Ja 3 and what you just mentioned, and then you got the Sabrina twos and threes. It's like I hey,
Yeah.
do you
Sopranos
think?
were really popular.
Those are good looking shoes
They are.
Yeah.
that even me as a male player thought about purchasing, man.
Right.
Seriously.
Right. There's a
And then you
few
got
NBA players wearing those Sabrinas.
yeah, yeah. They've been hitting the
Exactly.
court hard. That's why they number four on the list, and number five is the GT Cut 3 Turbo. That's an interesting
Pushed
looking shoe.
pushed and worn right now by an MVP candidate in Cade Cunningham.
Mhm.
Dang,
And
that
I
boy
don't know,
can.
and I don't know if you've seen the line that they have coming out from for him in 2027. It's going to be the best shoe on the market.
Nice.
Looks wise, comfort wise. I I'm sure price range will be fair. And that's another thing Nike does well, man. They get these good looking shoes at solid prices. The jaws aren't overpriced. When Paul George had his shoe that was doing well, it wasn't overpriced and it was a really good looking shoe, good quality shoe. Kyrie, the same thing when he was with Nike. So I don't know, man. It really is hard to say that Nike is falling behind, although be it not as dominant.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay, Sneed, I'll pose the same question to you.
Mm.
What shoe company? Now I'm thinking it's gonna be a Chinese shoe company. Anta is probably like right coming up
Right.
next. You know, what I mean, they just signed Clay to a lifetime deal, and then they
Right.
got Kyrie. Kyrie shoe is killing it. I know you've seen those Kyries where he's giving tribute to Kobe. Those
Right.
are hot.
And I
What are
saw
your
the
thoughts on
ones
Nike?
where he's giving love to the indigenous community also.
Yeah,
And I think with the Antas or any other brand, players have more options, like Coach talked about, but they also have more creative control, and
yeah,
that's what Kyrie has with Anta. Um, I don't know about Cooper Flag if he has that creative control,
with New
but
Balance.
I know with Kyrie, excuse me, not Kyrie, Kawhi, with Puma, he has creative control in that sense. So I
So
think
he's with Puma now. I thought he was with New Balance. Kyrie,
New Balance,
not
yeah,
Kyrie, but
New
Kawhi.
Balance.
yeah, New
Yeah.
Balance. But you're seeing athletes leave Nike for that creative control. I still
Yeah.
think Nike is the top dog, but they have so many athletes on the roster. It's hard to give all of those athletes a signature shoe,
Yeah.
signature opportunities. So I think other brands are getting those opportunities and giving those athletes creative control.
So what got
I'm gonna
Nike
tell
to the
you, I'm gonna tell you, Rich Paul and Max Kellerman had a conversation about 2 weeks ago about this
mm,
specifically and what it means to actually have a signature shoe and an actual shoe deal. They're two different things,
Right,
mm,
and there's quotas and numbers behind them that players don't understand. So, like Sneed is saying, man, being able to have that creative control and also be able to make a decent coin behind it and have your own actual signature shoe,
right,
other companies are able to provide that right now, and Nike just isn't, man. They have their guys with their signature shoes, and like LeBron has a lifetime deal. Go ahead.
yeah. You know what might swing the balance though? Steph Curry is a free agent right now.
yeah.
he's wearing everyone's shoes, but at some point he's going to pick a company, and that could tilt things in favor of a totally different company.
Where do you think he'll go? Like, what company do you think that he's, or what do you see him wearing where it just makes the most sense?
I
I
think
can tell you, I think it's gonna be British Knights.
No way. No chance. I'm with Sneed on this one. I know where you going,
yeah,
Sneed.
yeah. I see him going back to Nike at the end of the day.
I
Uh,
do too.
yeah,
It
And I
just
was gonna
makes
ask,
it's a perfect fit.
right.
I was gonna
It
ask you
is.
this, Earl K. Sneed, regarding Nike. What made them rise so fast? And I know the answer, but I want to hear what your thoughts are.
I think catching Michael Jordan early in his career,
Yep.
also the fact that the Jordan Warrens multicolor in the NBA banned them, and that with the urban community, they identified with that. And I think it was
Absolutely.
perfect timing. It was a perfect storm.
Yeah, I think what happened to Adidas is when Run DMC put them on the map.
I
And I
totally
mean,
agree.
I'm showing
Yeah.
my age now, but
The
when they had them
shelter.
shell toe Adidas,
Yeah,
man, I
shelter.
had to have me a pair.
But even Converse, when they had everyone in the late '70s, early '80s. They had Magic, they had Larry Bird, but they had
And
the
they had
top
a
guys.
deep reel too, didn't they?
Yeah,
Converse.
they had
Or was that
Isaiah.
Reebok?
Everyone was wearing Converse, you know,
Yeah.
but they had everyone early in the careers. And if you were a Laker fan, typically African Americans, then you were wearing the black uh, Converse. Excuse me, you were wearing the white Converse. You were wearing the black ones if you were a Larry Bird fan. Uh, so, East Coast, West Coast, black, white, like everything was a perfect storm for that.
Last question on this one, and it's addressed to both of you, and you can, whoever wanted to answer this first can really answer it. The urban culture has basically uplifted the shoe market for so many cases. What are your thoughts on as you us coming from urban not suburbia, but an urban lifestyle? What kind of impact did specific shoes have on you as a kid when you were growing
It made me want to,
up?
even if they were second or third hand me downs, I wanted to be in a pair of Jordans just to make it
Nice.
seem like I fit in with my people and my culture.
Yeah.
My first job, I was working at Arby's, and the first thing I did once I got a little bit of money was buy the Jordan 14s, uh,
Hey.
the white and Carolina
Great
blues.
shoe.
Yeah, but like that was the first thing I wanted to do the second I got my first check. It made me want to identify with the culture. I wanted to have a starter jacket and I wanted to have a pair of Jordans growing up. And
Starter jackets was a big dollars thing,
they,
man.
they definitely
Man,
were. Yeah. So,
I
but
had
I,
one of them
I was
Chicago Bull
the
Joker.
I was the youngest amongst three siblings, so I had to get the hand me down on my starter jacket. So the second I got my first check, I was not going to get hand me down Jordans. That was the first thing I bought.
Already.
Yeah,
And how did it affected you, coach?
I wouldn't say that shoes really. I mean, man, my love for basketball has always just been immense, and I come from a basketball family, and so I just think that I've played in any shoe. I used to play in K Swiss in middle school just because that's what was around.
right.
But I will say that I've watched over the years how important shoes have been to the sport in and of itself. And I think that is why Nike is able to separate themselves. They specialize in making basketball shoes.
Agreed.
Where I watch someone like Adidas, they specialize in making casual shoes,
Right.
and those shoes still resonate in our culture. Having a pair of shell toe Adidas is just as, you know, important to our culture as having a pair of J's on your feet.
Yeah.
And we won't talk about that much, but same thing with the Chucks. At
Right.
one point in Converse, they've all had an imprint on our culture, and so I just think the shoe in general, regardless of whether it's tied to a sport or tied to the streets, um, has just been something that we've resonated with, and we've taken it and made it something that it gave us an identity as a human being. And
Yeah,
I watch people today put different color shoelaces in their shoes, or I'm watching Javon Carter, who now plays for Orlando. He wears two different shoes. It's his personality now.
yeah,
Guys collect shoes. It just becomes a part of their history, their culture, their livelihood. And so, um, but yeah, for me personally, I just need something to hoop in, man, and I'm good to go. But now that I can control economically of what I like to wear as a player, um, I find myself, although be it I'll try, I own a pair of Ant Edwards, or I own a pair of James Harden shoes, but they just don't have the same comfort as say a Nike shoe, man. Even a LeBron or a KD shoe, they just specialize in those, man, for basketball players. It's just really hard to get out of a Nike shoe, man,
yeah.
playing.
And coach, you can talk about this. I grew up in the era where team shoes were really big when you played organized basketball.
Correct.
So we had the up tempos back when J Kidd used to wear those
Yeah.
with the Maverick colors in the early
Wow.
'90s. We had the questions with the Iversons
The
Oh
with the
yeah,
Iversons,
yeah,
that's
yeah
awesome.
with the tip.
The whole
Like
team in those had to look crazy.
exactly. It was crazy. It was crazy. We had
Man,
the orange and white. I played Arlington Bowie, so we had the orange and white questions, and it was fresh
man,
when we all had them.
man,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
that's
there's
that's
nothing like
killer.
a team of guys wearing the same shoe when it's a hot shoe.
yeah,
I watched Molina this year. Shout out to them, man. They all rode with the Jaws, and
nice.
and they have them. Molina has that teal and that black, man, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
shoe that
yeah.
they had just really stood out, man.
I
So
bet it was
no,
clean.
nothing like that. I know when I was doing AAU ball, that Derrick Rose, the low Derrick Rose,
Yeah.
that Derrick Rose one was a good popular shoe to have. So no, it means the world. It means the world to kids to have them, and to all look alike and be uniform. So no, the shoe will forever be a part of our culture. And yeah, man, we're fortunate that we're able to kind of purchase what we want to, but also relive the history of what we've seen grow into the evolution.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. To your point, Earl K. Sneed, I was the same way. I got a lot of hand-me-downs. My mom had six kids, so when I got a little money, I never was a hooper until I got older. I mean, which is crazy. I didn't start hooping until I was like 15, 16, and then I didn't really care what shoes I wore. I was just like, as long as I get out there and hoop, I was going to hoop, just like you, Coach Mason. But when I got to a point where I was in my 20s, and it still didn't matter what I hooped in, but one shoe I always resonated was those Gary Paytons. He had some shoes that was they was so easy to hoop and it was light
The
on your feet.
glove.
Yeah, man. I had some
Who
white
had the
ones, man.
pumps, man? Was that Pat Ewing with the pumps?
uh,
That was
I remember D Brown. I
D
remember
yeah.
D Brown.
Brown with the man. Those pumps.
Yeah,
Listen, man.
the
Hey,
pumps.
Dixie
man.
wore
The,
those in the dunk
the
contest.
pump. Yes, yes, he did. The LA Lights too. I
Come
had a
on,
pair
man.
of LA
Yeah,
Lights. Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on, man.
yeah,
Them
Yeah,
kids
no,
love
shoes
them
are.
LA lights, man. I
yeah.
remember them, man.
Come on, man. Yeah, no, the shoe is everything in the sport. And I'm gonna tell you, the sport to go look at, man, some of them cleats them NFL players are wearing, the basketball shoes that they've
Right,
turned into cleats are
right.
sick these
Jalen
days.
Hurts.
Man.
Jalen Hurts
Oh
is signed to
man.
Jordan, so he wears those Jordan ones uh, in Philadelphia green,
Oh
and
man.
then he has a Kelly green ones. He'll wear the football cleat version of the Jordan 11s,
The
the 911.
Concords, those are the ones, man.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my goodness
Yeah, them
gracious.
Concords are tough,
yeah,
man.
Oh man. My favorite
Yeah.
shoe all time. The 11s and 12s are, but I know that's the easy pick, man. It's the
yeah.
easy pick.
And I'm tell y'all something, man. I don't really buy a lot of stuff, even though I got the money to do it. But my wife, she'd be like, "No, I'm gonna get you some freaking Jordans or something." I'm like,
Right.
I don't really care about that
That's a
stuff.
good woman.
Yeah,
Hey
man,
man.
she gonna make sure I wear something nice.
And you can be a good man and throw us some of that money you talking about you got now, man. We need it over here on this side, man.
I ain't even gotta throw it to she in my account right now. I ain't even She got access. I ain't
That's why
tripping.
that's why they call you Big Mike, man. That's big money right there.
Not yet. We gonna get that switch for real.
Not yet.
No doubt.
All right, guys. Last conversation. Mike D'Antoni. Speaking of Big Mike, Mike D'Antoni, man, he revolutionized. Well, I think he didn't revolutionize fast-paced basketball because that was something Don Nelson had a foothold in. But he has had a very stellar career in the NBA. He's come a long way as a coach, man. I respect what he's, especially when he had Steve Nash at the time.
Right.
When he coached Steve Nash, it was so crazy. Coach Mason, we're going to speak on and deep dive into the career of Mike D'Antoni. What are some of your thoughts and give us your analysis of what he did as a coach for us being in the NBA?
Yeah, I'll be pretty quick with them. I think that if you've been around the game at least from the early 2000s, you probably know of Mike D'Antoni, the coach for sure. But I think that his relationships that he built while playing overseas as a player, I think really kind of shaped his career in general. And I know people focus on that Phoenix Suns 7 seconds or less team.
Right.
Um, but nobody really gives him credit for that James Harden team. And
True. Houston.
man,
Yeah.
some of these people, man, their careers flourished under him and the style of play that he was playing, and not just the guards, some of the bigs too. And you watch these guys go to other teams, and it's just not the same feel and fit that it was under Mike D'Antoni. Um, but I found it interesting though when he went to coach the Lakers, um, because essentially you had two different styles. You had different styles of players, but
Yeah.
what he wanted to bring. And so um, I thought it was a unique challenge, but I also felt like that was kind of the end of, people kind of thinking that he could transform these teams.
Yeah.
Personnel really matters.
It was a
And
bad fit.
and it just was a bad fit, but it
Yeah.
also shows you that hey man, when I can go into an organization, kind of like what we were talking about with the shoe, and I can have creative control, and I can play 6'9" guys like Stoudemire at center. I can play 6'7" guys at power forward, and we kind of not really focus on defense so much, and just focus on pushing the ball up the floor, working with pace and space. Um, and I just think those things really matter, and I think he was able to do a lot of that in Houston as well. I think it was a blank slate. It was just do what you want to do. We got this kid out of Oklahoma City. We don't know what he'll be, but here you go, Mike. And man, that team was ultra fun to watch,
Yeah.
and that's I mean, my good. I don't know that James Harden is who he is without a Mike D'Antoni, and
He's not.
I think that's something I just wanted to highlight in this conversation is he's more than that Phoenix Suns team and that Steve Nash team. He was transcendent in the basketball that you see today, where it's a lot of isolation, penetrating pitch, um, playing guys out of the dunker spot. So no man, kudos to Mike D'Antoni. I really don't. It's hard to put him up there in the upper echelon of coaches of all time. But if my list can go 25, 30 guys, I think he would be amongst names that I would mention. That list to be in that top 10, 15 is just really hard to do, man, because it's a lot of great coaches that have we've been blessed to see guys that people don't talk about anymore, like Chuck Daly and Lenny
Hmm.
Wilkins, and
Hmm. Yeah, he
it's
just
just really
recently
hard.
passed Lenny
Yeah.
Wilkins.
Lenny Wolf.
I mean, those guys were. I mean, you mentioned Don Nelson earlier. Um, so yeah, it really is. But to give Mike D'Antoni credit, he is somebody where if you mention his name, it's synonymous with basketball, pace, space, and revolution. And so I think he would be grateful for the career that he had. I just don't know that a title was going to ever be in his favor. And then I'll say this at the end: he helped Brooklyn, I believe, when Steve Nash took over. And I think he really
Yeah,
helped that team early on, man, before so before parting ways. Um, but I do, man. I think that his career is cementing in as one of the greats, and very fortunate that we got to see him do what he did.
Now, you think was he pretty much influenced by Don Nelson in any way?
Sure, but also too, like I said, man, he had a career playing in Europe. And so
Yeah.
I think when people look at that pace and space, man, they're not, man, they were the drag screen kings in Phoenix, man.
yeah,
You want to talk about high pick and roll. I mean, it's the basketball that we see today. It was a lot
right.
of Spain action ran. So although be it, I'm sure influenced and understand who Donnie Nelson was, but I just think that his career and what he witnessed playing and coaching overseas, it just was a natural fit for him to come over and try to do it over here.
Totally
I'm gonna put
agree.
one more thought on your brain real quick, Coach Mason. 2012, he coached New York, and that was the same season that we had a breakout season for Jeremy Lin.
Mhm.
What was the reasonings that he couldn't get Lin over the hump? Is it more so that Carmelo came back, or is it just the way he was coaching at the time? Because it was a dilemma at one point in time.
Same thing, man. You had a playmaking guard that was playing in space, and when Melo came, he was more of a ball stopper, especially at that point in his career. And yeah, you've got hey man, I've ran into this with coaches, as the player that I am. If I'm the tallest guy on the team, but I'm the best shooter, there's a dynamic there that sometimes doesn't work, right? I'm used to coming off pin downs and reading screens this way. And yeah, but you're 6'2", 6'3", man, and you're the tallest guy on the team. And so we kind of need you to play this way. That is really hard to do when coaching players aren't on the same page of like, this is my strength and this is my strength. Like, how do we figure out how to work that together? Excuse me. And I think with Jeremy Lin, he was just grateful for the opportunity and it fit his strength. And when
Hmm.
Melo came back, I mean, it changed everything. And I don't think that there was any hate at all. Those guys have cleared that up. It just was a bad fit in terms of team once he came back. And so, yeah, but what a run that was, though. Also, that insanity was insane.
Yeah, it was, man. He won the Coach of the Year in 2005, and then also he was co-coach of the year in 2017. He also won an Italian League Championship in 97, and then he followed that up in 2002. And then there's an Italian Super Cup winner that he won in 2001 and 2002. So the guy's a
Mhm.
winner. So he's been really one of those guys that he deserved to actually coach in the NBA, see where he can go. But I'm not quite sure why he didn't make an NBA championship.
It's
I'll
hard to
tell you
do.
why. I'll tell you why. 2007, Robert Ory checks Steve Nash into the scorers table. That's why, because
That's a real
Amari
thing.
Stoudemire
Yeah.
was already checking into the game, by the way, but the NBA said that he had left the bench, so they suspended him and Boris Diaw for Game 5,
Dang.
even though Amari was already up, about to check into the game.
And that was 2005?
2007.
7.
2007.
Yeah.
God.
And if you talk to Amari, if you talk to Sean Marion, they say that team was the best team in the NBA. And they would have beat the Spurs if Amari was not suspended and also Boris Diaw for game 5.
Dang.
Yeah.
I forgot about that because that's when
Amari was incredible
Yes, he
that
was.
series.
Yes, he was.
nobody could stop him because Nash was just livening it up to him.
Right.
He was the best player in that series that year.
Unguardable.
He was
Unguardable.
unguardable, and to do that versus that Spurs team was unheard of, man. And he was getting stuff at the rim. It was just nothing you could do.
Every
Those
time.
pocket passes were killing.
Right.
I mean, yeah, man, that was his chance right there, right? And you don't
It
get
really
very much of
was.
those at that level.
And
Yeah.
and that was the year that the Spurs swept the Cavs, the LeBron year
Yep.
2007, when Donyell Marshall is the second best player. Big
Correct.
Z is the
Quickly, I
Gunason
remember
Leslie,
that. That's crazy.
Anderson Varejao. Like there was no one on that Cavs team. So basically, the finals were happened in the Western Conference Finals between
Sure.
the Spurs and the Suns. That was D'Antoni's best year. And if you talk to anyone on that Suns team, they felt like they were the better team and they would have won the championship that year.
I
Yeah,
agree.
Yeah.
because that year, Detroit faced off against Cleveland to get to the finals,
Right.
and Cleveland beat them 4-2. San Antonio faced off against Utah to get them to the finals, which is amazing because they beat Golden State. So Phoenix got beat by San Antonio in the second round.
Second round.
So the conference semifinal. So it was
Semifinal.
a 4-2. So that
Right.
was crazy. That was crazy. And then San Antonio went on to beat the Utah 4-1. That was crazy. Isn't that Darren Williams when he was playing?
Darren
Yeah,
Williams.
also not an ultra deep team. You know, you had Darren Williams, Carlos Boozer, and I believe Mehmet
Remember
Okur
O'Court. Yep.
was on that team. And so yeah, no, definitely that was their year, their time. And man, I'll never forget it. And it almost felt like it was intentional a little bit
It was
in
Yeah.
San
intentional.
Antonio's
Yeah.
part. Yeah. But hey
If
man,
you
by
if you
by
talk
any
to those
means,
guys, they felt like it was intentional.
Yeah.
correct.
So, Earl K. Sneed, give us your thoughts on the coach, man, as far as Mike D'Antoni go. What are some of the things that highlighted for you in your mind about him? It's
Well,
besides his offense. You know, he was crazy with
yeah,
it.
Big Mike, you took a lot of my stats that I was going to refer to. No, that's good. But I will say this: Mike D'Antoni's all-time NBA coaching career, his record, 672 wins versus 527 losses, and that's the most. That's the third most wins of any coach that has never made it to the NBA Finals.
Dang.
Don Nelson obviously has the most, and
Rick
then
Adelman.
close.
Oh,
Cotton Fitzsimmons.
wow.
Cotton. What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Cotton Fitzsimmons has 832.
Now, I mean, that though used to win some
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. So, I mean, you feel like D'Antoni was always there. I'm glad that coach brought up his Houston run because that team was incredible offensively. They
Oh
just couldn't get
man.
past the Warriors. But that
Correct.
team, he turned. We now know James Harden is a top 10 all time scorer, but he never becomes that without the presence of Mike D'Antoni. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And that was also Chris Paul's best chance, I feel
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
of getting to the NBA Finals. So what D'Antoni was able to do with two guards, with James Harden and Chris Paul, what he was able to do. Also, Dwight Howard had his best run after he left Orlando with D'Antoni down in Houston.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
Yep.
forgot he went to
yeah,
Houston. That's right.
Hey man, listen, and it's one thing to get a Rockets job or a Suns job, but man, that man was able to go and coach the Lakers and the Knicks.
yeah,
I
Yep.
mean, not a lot of coaches can say that, man. Not a lot of
yeah.
coaches get that opportunity, but that speaks to the jobs that he was doing in those other places, man. So, no, definitely, like I said, man, it's hard. There's so many coaches that have impacted um, not only playing careers but just franchises as we know them, and it's hard to crack that list of all time. But like Earl K. Sneed said, man, number three all time on a list of most wins without going to a finals, that's an accomplishment in and of
It really
itself as well.
is. It really is. Great
So,
regular season coach.
Earl K.
Absolutely.
Sneed, what would what would have been? I'm trying to phrase it to really make sense. What could have got him over that hump? I think the answer would be defense, but as
Yeah,
far as him getting to a championship,
yeah,
what would have been if he could have made it like past San Antonio and that high pace offense? You think they would have beat Cleveland as well?
absolutely. I don't think it would have even been a series. I think it would have
Dang,
been LeBron would have gotten his numbers, but I don't think Cleveland would have been able to keep up with the pace. Offensively, I don't think they would have scored enough. And San Antonio was playing pick and roll basketball with Tony Parker and obviously Manu Ginobili and Tim Duncan, but they were playing at a slower pace than the Suns were doing. So if Cleveland couldn't keep up with that pick and roll against the Spurs, there was no way they would have kept up with that against the Suns.
Yeah, I hated to see them when they played Dallas because
Yeah.
Amari would just kill Dirk. I'm like, oh my God,
Sean
somebody.
Marion, Sean Marion would kill the Mavericks
It was
at
dope.
that
You
time
got to
too.
think of it's about matchups,
Right.
Yeah.
and they just were a matchup nightmare
They
for
really
people.
were.
And Barbosa too. He was coming out of nowhere
Man,
too, and he
they
came off the
had
bench.
they
And was
were
running point guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Point
Boris
forward.
Dia.
Boris
Oh
Diaw.
Same
yeah.
thing, man. They were loaded, man,
Yeah.
and the other thing too, man. They enjoyed playing with each other. That's
Rajah
rare as
Bell.
well.
They had Rajah Bell. They had a really, really good team.
But then
Well
Raja played for
constructed.
Dallas prior to
Tim
Phoenix.
Thomas.
Tim
Oh
Thomas was
yeah.
on that
Yeah.
team, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's the one who blew that kiss at Dirk that
Yeah.
time.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
I remember it. See, y'all bringing back bad memories,
Yeah.
man. Just
Raja actually
almost.
played too with a couple of those Utah Jazz teams
Yeah.
that had
Rajah was
success.
in
Yeah.
Utah. Yeah.
He had a great career though, to think about it. He was tough nosed defender, man. I liked him, man, back in
Definitely
the
His
day.
was.
kid, his son, right now is a young prospect.
Really.
Yep,
Nice. Nice.
That's crazy,
That's
man.
one of the guys that Kobe really respected as a
correct,
defender. Rajah
Yeah.
correct.
Bell, Matt
Yeah.
Barnes, those guys. Kobe really respected them.
So shoot,
And
shout out
Kobe
to Kobe.
respected Mike D'Antoni. They
Yes, he
had a
did.
relationship.
Yeah.
I think father played with
Italy.
Mike
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Italy.
In
Yep.
Jelly
Italy.
Bean,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. In
Ella
Italy.
Bean brand. Man, great conversation tonight, man. I gotta have y'all two on again like this again, because talking basketball, I mean, all of us love basketball. I'm a
Definitely.
fan of it since the '80s, since I first watched the Mavs. I'm like, I was a little kid, but like, I just got excited about watching them. Anyway, we're gonna close it out, man. Coach Mason, give the people your social media handles where they can find you at. So if they want to catch up to you, man, just let them know where they can find you at.
Man, like always, man, I'm not really a big social media person, but I am on Twitter at momace22. Um, I'm really just liking a lot of stuff on there, not really posting a lot. I try not to be very opinionated. I like to speak facts, and you don't find a whole lot of those on the internet if you're not looking in the right places. And so, but man, you can find me personally at North Dallas High School, man. I'm up there all day, every day. I feel like, man, teaching and grooming and just, trying to build and create uh, good young men and women, man, that are valuable to society and trying to teach life through the game of basketball. And I teach health up there, man, and I pretty much just lock into to life, man. And I live life to the fullest, but hard to find me on socials. I'm just not really that type of guy. Find me here on Swish for
Switch for
Real on
real.
the podcast, man. Hopefully people enjoy having me on, and I enjoy being on because, like I said, man, I know you're gonna have people on like Earl that I'm learning from, and that I'm just enjoying listening to and gaining good information from, man. So, thank you for being on, Earl, man. It was nice to meet you on here.
Anytime, man. It's nice to meet you, Coach, man. Nice to hear from a coach's perspective, and you've got a lot of basketball knowledge, so I appreciate that.
And I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
guys.
Mike is actually cutting into our Cleveland Detroit time right now, man. But we'll
I
save
have it
that
on
for another
behind me.
day. I
And
couldn't
guys,
do it, man. I would have been looking to the side too much, man. So
I was gonna say, guys, you can also watch his interview on our channel too. He did a great interview about the raptures of great athletes out of the community, not going to the school, but they missing out on a good coach. So y'all go check it out. It's in our playlist of stories by Swish for Real. So check that out. Earl K. Sneed, man, tell the people where they can find you at on the social media streets, man. Give me your handle so they can catch up with you.
Definitely. At Earl K. Sneed, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever you call it, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm trying to make some more national moves. So stay tuned to my socials. When things become official, you guys will find out from me. Like Coach said, I'm not very opinionated, but I am very objective. People that are very passionate about their teams might not like the objectivity that I put on social, but I'm going to always call it like I see it and be factual with everything that I'm saying.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
follow.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm following.
Yeah, thanks. And
Appreciate
we'll put the links in the description below. So if you want to see where they're at social media wise, we'll have the links for you guys. You can just click on there. And me, I'm always here on Swish for Real. We're working on our next film. It's called Pressure. It's about a couple, just basically going through some growing pains, and we start filming in a month and a half. So just be
Nice.
on the lookout. The film should be done and out probably, hopefully by the end of July, because
Nice.
it takes a lot to do posts and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
you can always find me on social medias too. Mikhail.poet.director. Just Mikhail, anything like that. Just Mikhail, director, poet. Type it in. I should pull up on everything now because I've been really busy social media wise trying to make sure people watch the film, watch Swish for and all that stuff. But anyway, guys, it's been an amazing show, man. I appreciate y'all
Yeah.
coming out. I'm going to give you
One
back your
question,
mic.
real quick, before Sneed gets off.
Yes, sir.
Would you take Darren Peterson with the #1 overall pick
For this year?
for this upcoming draft?
But you know what? That was crazy. They said he was not a good pick as far as personality wise. He's not.
Well, it's because he's antisocial.
Yeah,
Sure,
If you take the guy with the #1 pick, you want him to have personality. You want to put him out in front of the community. You really want to sell him. But in terms of talent, yes, as long as he's healthy, which is the biggest question. But talent
sure.
wise, he's the #1 guy in my opinion. Definitely.
I just had
that's
that
good.
question. No,
Yeah.
I had that. No, I definitely I have who I would take #1. And a lot of it has to do with that, the business side of it.
Right.
Because you're right from a talent standpoint. I mean, combo guard. Oh man, I mean, he can really put the ball in the hole.
Yeah.
Um,
Effortlessly.
but I'm gonna tell you, man, AJ DeBonsa really has
And I
impressed
like
me.
AJ. I really like AJ.
I think his ceiling is immense. And then, of course, if you really want to win basketball games and you have a good team already, I think Cam Boozer is a perfect fit for you as well. So
Agreed. He's going to have a great 10 to
great
15-year
career.
career.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
Just like Tom
this is
Olsen.
another pod, Big Mike, man.
I know.
I just had to ask him while I had him on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be back on. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get y'all both on at the same time again. So once I get confirmation with Earl, I'm gonna lock it down with you, and we'll make it happen, guys. But anyway, I'm
Perfect,
gonna
man.
give y'all back y'all night, man.
That's it, for real.
It's real. We out of here, guys. Peace.
Peace.
All right.